It is shockingly and extremely sad that some of the leaders we have in Kenya are downplaying the documentary done by the BBC termed as Blood Parliament. If you do the analysis of the documentary, you'll realize that it's just a tip of the iceberg. It's just a drop in the ocean with regards to what happened in 2024, June 25th, as the protesters and the demonstrators who were very peaceful, holding nothing but just flags and their voices and their placards saying that Ruto must go. Now, we have leaders who are saying that the documentary is politically instigated, saying that the documentary is politically motivated, saying there is no factor in the reportings of the IEBC. Fact checking. We had so many people on the streets. The media was focusing on this. These were real-time pictures. These were live streaming of the day's events that were happening. People who were being gunned down as close as 50 meters range. We saw even how the BBC and the whole investigative team did create a match to establish who killed who. In this case, which officer of the state killed a citizen who was unarmed. And this one guy who was shot lastly in parliament as they were now exiting the parliament. You will clearly see that the KDF officer had all the intentions of killing. Then they want us to sit down and celebrate. They want us to sit down and just be happy. Of course, what you don't know, that is why in media they did say, when a dog bites a man, that is not news. But when a man bites a dog, it's news. So, every news item that you consume is targeted towards eliciting emotion. Either it will be a happy emotion or a sad emotion. Sometimes you watch a movie and the end result is that you are happy. Your hero came out as a hero. Sometimes you watch a movie and you are sad because your hero comes out as a coward. So, in each and every piece that you watch, emotions will always be attached. So, by telling us that this piece is trying to bring about, scars that were already healing, there is nothing like healing. We were just on sleep mode. You tell me, that mother who buried his son, who buried their daughter, who buried their husband because of the peaceful demonstrations, people who are clearly not breaking any law, people who are trying to tell the state that the sovereignty belongs to the people, you gun them down. I mean, what does the government has to explain with this? Because as you remember then, President William Ruto was saying that the demonstrations that were otherwise peaceful were infiltrated by criminals. The BBC did capture so well the people you saw: a student, a husband. These people are very peaceful. These people were very peaceful. There was no element of criminality in them. None of them was holding a weapon. None of them was intimidating the officer in whatsoever manner. None of them was geared towards distracting anybody's property. But they were killed. I will not say they were killed by the bullets. I will not say they were killed by the guns. I will say They were killed by the deployed KDF officers. It is people who kill people. The gun cannot cock itself. The gun cannot press the trigger by itself. It is you, the human being, who initiates the process. It is so disheartening. I want to say this. It is not the first time I'm saying it. While these demonstrations were happening, I did warn of something. I did tell the demonstrators, for those at least who watched that video in one of my YouTube videos in this channel, I told them such a revolution was tried in other places, but the mistake they did was to go on a break, was to put a break. You know what? That day, when the youth occupied the parliament, you may be having a contrary opinion, but this is my take. They should have never left. They should have never left. They should have just charged more in and take seats and sit there and make a point. Tell the world, we are taking back this house that belongs to us. Because the members of parliament that we elected to represent our interests are no longer doing that. We are now here to represent ourselves. That day, they should have never left those premises. Because it is after then that we saw a surge in the number of people who are engaging in demonstrations. And that was the biggest mistake that we did as revolutionaries. Now that we've learned, next time, when we decide to stage such demonstrations, when we decide to pass a point to the state, we shall never relent. And to the state, fear a person who has got nothing to lose. Fear a person who, at the end of the day, they will not fear that bullet. They will not fear that gun. They will not fear any amount of force and torture and intimidation that you are going to spear towards them. They will come for you. When they are done with life, they have reached the peak. They surely will come for you, the leaders. That is why it was the middle class, the working class, the poor, everybody united against the political elite. And it is the same way. The political elite united to make sure that they will suppress Mwananchi. Look at the state of the economy right now. You could barely survive. Businesses are closing down. Industries are closing down. Companies are closing down. And those that are not closing down, they are reducing on their workmanship. People are being retrenched. Because where is this money to pay them going to come from? June 25th, the year 2024, in the history of Kenya, shall never be forgotten. We lost our heroes. People who innocently died while fighting for the nation. Whatever little effort we are making, let us push forward. Let us not lose the zeal. Let us not lose the focus. Let us keep on charging. It is so shameful to those leaders who come and tell us that it is pure shenanigans for the BBC documentary. I mean, even for the blind who could listen, could tell that it was a dire situation in Kenya. Things were bad. The country was being torn apart because of leaders who don't want to accept that they are pushing their citizens to the corner towards a dead point. and it had reached a point of no return. Let me tell you, people are just on a sleep mode. The anger is still there. It will be rekindled, and the fire shall burn. And that day, you will realize that the sovereignty belongs to the people. I for sure know one thing. One day, you the leaders who are doing this today, before you go to your graves, I'm telling you, before you go to your graves, the revolution will happen right before your eyes, and you will have nowhere to hide. To the Mwananchi, come the year 2027, if we shall reach there, let us not forget this. We shall screen these. During the campaigns, we shall screen this Blood Parliament documentary to remind you the animals that are so much desperate to make sure that you are eliminated, to make sure that your freedom is curtailed, to make sure that you have nothing completely so that you can depend on them. We are never going to forget. Give me your take in the comment section if you're watching from my YouTube channel. Give me your thoughts. And if you love content of this nature, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.